There we are. And we are live. Live on the porch. Looks like everybody's live. I can see everybody there. Welcome to the Sports Porch, everybody. The first thing I want to do is thank you for tuning in. And I also want to thank our biggest sponsor, the Pittsburgh Property Diva. If you're thinking about buying or selling, make sure you visit pittsburghpropertydiva.com. And as everybody knows, she is my wife, so I'm being forced to do that. We're probably gonna, which is I'm kind of kidding. I'm gonna bring the music down here. We're gonna get the show started tonight. We have a very, very exciting experiment. I'm gonna put it up here for you. Donate 500 stars to Pittsburgh Beautiful tonight. Can get you on the porch live to give your Super Bowl pick with us. All you got to do is hit that star button, donate 500 stars or send 500 stars, and then DM your email to me at Pittsburgh Beautiful, and I'll email you the link to join the show. And then I will delete your email because I don't need an email. So I promise you that. And we may actually take a little. Say again, bud.
Did you delete my email? That's what I want to know.
Yes, I deleted your email. Absolutely.
Hey, I think you launched this on the Sports Porch and not Pittsburgh Beautiful.
No, it's Pittsburgh Beautiful. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, I got some comments on Pittsburgh Beautiful.
Yep, we got some comments. We're good.
Okay.
Pat Donovan's in the house. He's watching on LinkedIn. Thank you, Pat.
Pat Donovan.
And sorry, I can't believe she married me either, Pat.
That is a miracle.
That was a miracle of all miracles, huh?
There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
I think that's absolutely true. Pat,
I can't believe
Pat
she married
speaks
you.
the truth.
Yeah,
and this is confirmation that we are live on LinkedIn. So thanks for joining on LinkedIn if you are. Good evening, April. How are you? It's good to see you. Amy May is here. Amy, I will bill you later for the 500 stars. Thank you.
I thought you said you were going to ban her.
We'll give her one more shot.
Banning of Amy.
No, we love Amy.
Of course not.
Some of us love her more than others.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
so Tim is on the show. Thank you. This is what Tim has to say. My must-see Monday night. Of course.
Of course.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
300 more stars to get on the program.
So, April sent 200 stars. Thank you, April. I'm watching. I'm going to keep my eye on the comments over here. Hey, Todd Ross is on. Hey, Todd, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, can we get to talking about some sports here?
Let's start.
Let's
talking.
go. Come
Can
on.
we?
Jesus.
We've
been on live for 4 minutes and we haven't said anything
Absolutely. Let's do it. So, do we want to do our Super Bowl week now, or do we want to give some more people a chance to join us on the porch?
Oh, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl
already. I see a lot of people.
We'll be talking about the Super Bowl for at least 10 or 15 minutes.
All right, let's do it. Here's your banner. Here's what we're doing. Super Bowl picks. We'll get right into it. What's your pick? Send us 500 stars and DM me your email address, and we will get you the link to join us live on the show right here, right now on Pittsburgh Beautiful. You, too, can be a star. So, Schwaber, we'll start with you. Since you're wearing a very patriotic hat tonight.
Dude, it's the Philadelphia 76ers. They're like sixth in the East.
Correct.
Tell me what your Super Bowl pick.
I am going kind of against the norm, at least I think, taking the Cincinnati Bengals.
I love it.
Celebrate their first Super Bowl victory with a win of 38-28. It's 31-28 late in the fourth. Matthew Stafford has a chance to bring his team back. He's intercepted, and it's run back for a touchdown. And all of Cincinnati is going wild.
Who is it, Mike Hilton?
Yeah, that would be great.
He's very excited.
Here's what Tim says.
Wow.
Tim says the Bungles by 13. I'm not so sure you can call them the Bungles anymore, especially if they win this Super Bowl. But anyway.
Yeah, you can. You can always call Cincinnati the Bungles.
Of course. All right, Steve, lay it on me.
They don't even have a Super Bowl win. They should
Lay
be
it
the
on me.
Bungles.
What's
They
your
have
pick?
like 30 years of not even being in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's ridiculous. They're
This is
definitely
so
still the
typical.
Bungles. They're definitely the Bungles. They will never not be the Bungles.
Well,
Unless
Steve, with that, am I to take that you're taking the Rams?
I am taking the Rams. I'm surprised that you went so high in the score. Why did you go so high, Mark? What leads you to believe they're going to score that many points?
I just think the way the NFL is now, it's all about the passing game. And I just really feel like these offenses are going to be opening it up, and nobody's going to be able to cover anybody. I'm just saying they're going to air it out.
I agree with they are not going to be able to cover anybody. I think that's probably going to be true, but I think the first quarter is going to be a shit show just because you got two new teams in there. Neither of them been to the big game. They're going to have a lot of nervous energy. I really don't think there's going to be much scoring in the first quarter. I'm actually thinking it's going to be a relatively low score. I don't think it's going to get out of the 20s for either team. I'm thinking it's going to be 24-17, and it will be the Rams. I think it will be the Rams. I think they'll kick a late field goal to just seal the game enough. I think Burrow won't have quite enough time to come back and get that victory touchdown, and they'll do something terrible with timeouts and mismanagement of the clock that they just won't be able to get down the field to score a touchdown. I think they'll get to like the 40 or the 30 to make it interesting, but they'll have to throw almost basically a Hail Mary pass, and it'll go incomplete on the last play.
Let's bring DG into the fray. DG's going with Rams, Bengals, Rams 30-27. So your technical director is still checking this here. And DG just sent 1,000 stars. So DG, I'm going to shoot you a little invite here if you'd like to join us on the program. That's another thing. Send 500 stars tonight, and you yourself get to join us live on the porch. So DG, look out for my email. I already have DG's email. So
true proof that he does keep emails.
So Chris, who do you see winning the bowl?
I think it's going to be Cincinnati, hands down. The question that I have is, how does Matthew Stafford play in the biggest game of his entire career? That's one. Now, we know he has the tools. Okay, we know he can make the throws, all that stuff. It's not that he's not competent. He's a great quarterback, and he proved that. He played at a high level in Detroit, which was a horrible team for the most part, and he came over to the Rams. He played at a high level there and led him to the Super Bowl. However, Joe Burrow has always played in big games and always, for the most part, won. So, yes, Burrow's a rookie. Yes, Stafford has. Look at Steve. What is he laughing about?
I'm laughing at Kyle.
Schwaber. Oh, okay. So anyway, what's Kyle saying? I don't see Kyle. Oh, Kyle.
Kyle's got Mariah winning.
Oh,
of course.
Mariah Carey's winning the Super Bowl.
Mariah Carey's winning the Super Bowl. One day, Kyle. Kyle. She will do a halftime show, and you will watch your first Super Bowl.
Mariah has won an awful lot, to be honest with you. So. Getting back to my Super Bowl pick, I think Burrow's going to pull this out. I think it's going to be Cincy. I think he's already understands the pressure. If there's anybody who has the most pressure on him, it's Matthew Stafford because of all the reasons I talked about before.
No.
Joe Burrow has pressure on him, but he's used to this, and he's got nothing to lose by being a gunslinger in this game. Stafford, he's got to be careful. So I think it's going to be Cincy. I actually think it's going to be Cincy by a lot. We've had a lot of close Super Bowls lately. I think it's going to be 35-17 Cincy.
Wow, you guys are so you have Joe Burrow stars in your eyes. You don't understand that he's only been in the league a couple years. You don't understand that not even Dan Marino could win the big game as young as that. I mean, look at Big Ben, a Hall of Famer, and he had his worst game ever in the Super Bowl. And the only reason they won was because of their freaking defense. Do you guys not look at history? Do you not?
Well,
do you like to say, "Oh, I got my picture of Joe Burrow out. He's so pretty. He's a great quarterback." It's not going to happen that way. It never does.
That right there is going to be a clip forever. Could you do that again, Steve, please?
Oh, no, you do it with your Joe Burrow picture that's under your desk right now.
I love it.
How about the fact that
here's
Joe
Kyle.
Burrow, how about
are
the
you
fact
sure
that
Tom
Joe
Brady
Burrow,
doesn't have? Hold on. Kyle says, "Are you sure Tom Brady doesn't have the most pressure on him?" I think he's still pulling this.
No, he's got a new boss. It's called Giselle. He's got bigger problems.
So Pat on LinkedIn says, Schwaber, I have a friend who kept kosher. I'm not sure what that. We used to do Wednesday lunch at Skyline Cincinnati joint. It's chili on spaghetti covered with cheddar. We had to go off menu. All right, that's Pat's attempt at humor. And Pat, and for everybody, Pat's a really old friend of ours, and we love him to death. And we're just thankful we have one viewer on LinkedIn.
DG just peed his pants.
Yeah. There you go. That's what happens when you watch the Sports Porch. You pee your pants.
David, you should, with the picks that were just done here, you should be peeing your pants.
Yep.
Well, let's analyze what Steve said just for a minute there. So you could have said the same thing about Joe Burrow at LSU. You could have said, how's this guy going to have only played one season at LSU and win the college football championship?
No, dude, you're wrong. LSU was a juggernaut of a team. They actually, it was no big deal if they were in the final. Like, he's never been such a big underdog. And what he's going to do is he's going to press too much. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw at least 2 interceptions.
What's his nickname?
What's going to happen?
What's his nickname?
After this Super Bowl, it's going to be Choke Burrows.
It is Joe Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you guys are just
all I want to know is what cigar does he have ready, and will he send it to me when it's done? Because I would like to smoke that cigar.
Well, I think we're headed for a big Cincy cigar. That's what I think, and keep the comments at minimum on that. Now, listen, I got Richard here, who has a couple of questions. First of all, when we can get to these, one's for me. When will you do your therapy drives again? I'm telling you, I want to do them every single morning. I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to do that, Richard. My life has changed a little bit. What's your thoughts on Kyler Murray? Also, when are you guys going back on the porch? So we're taking a little bit of a diversion here. You guys want to give thoughts on Kyler Murray at all? I mean, we did make our Super Bowl predictions. Want you guys to keep them coming.
So all I know about it, from what I understand, he just took all Arizona Cardinal stuff, off of all of his social media. Is that it? But nobody really knows why he did it.
No,
I'm guessing that's what it is.
I think he's pulling Wilson. I think he wants to get out, but
yeah,
they own him. So I mean, they'll come to some consensus with it. I mean, I
was hearing on sports radio today, like, hey, would you send 3 first-round picks for Kyler Murray?
Right.
No, he's not worth that much, but he's worth a lot to Arizona, and they'll find a way to make him happy and keep him. And that team really needs to find a running back. And that team will be primed to get to the NFC Championship game next year, provided they can keep DeAndre Hopkins. I just think that team's got a lot of talent. And defensively, they're pretty good, even though they've got TJ's brother, who's a little past his prime, but still good talent at rushing the quarterback. So.
And when are you guys going back on the porch? It won't be too long. We're running up against 2 things. First of all, it's not as bad today, but it's been super, super cold. And second of all, obviously, COVID. I had COVID for a little while. Steve had it for a little while. So we're just out of an abundance of caution. First of all, I want to say hi to my mom. She's watching. She's not feeling good. She's at home. Hi, Mom. How are you? Let's throw up Tim's comment here. No Bengal QB choked more than Carson Palmer.
Amen to that, too.
I think so. And Todd Ross just said, or Tim also just said no to something. And Todd Ross said, hell no. And I'm not sure what that is because I'm trying to do 52 things at once. And anyway, so I think we've done the whole Steelers Super Bowl picks, or not Steelers Super Bowl, the whole Super Bowl pick thing. Keep sending them. I'm having trouble on my phones, guys, getting Facebook up. So I don't know what's going on. It's just it's my system here. Here's what Pat says about Kyler. Kyler needs a tight end. I'm still mad about Hopkins making that catch.
They have Zach Ertz.
They do have Zach Ertz. You're right. Richard says, thanks, guys. Enjoy the show. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Remember, 500 stars get you live. DG, I emailed you the link to get on live if you want to be live with us on the show. We would be seriously honored.
You guys hear about Alvin Kamara?
Yes. And that is no surprise.
Yeah, it is.
Huh?
I think it's a surprise.
It's just no surprise that somebody got in trouble.
In Vegas, nobody gets in trouble in Vegas. They usually just pay the cops off, and they don't end up in jail after the Pro Bowl.
In Vegas at a strip club.
Yeah,
it's a bad combination.
They didn't say strip club.
Where else would he be?
What?
They said a late night club.
They said a late night club
in the 3,000 area of Las Vegas Boulevard. I didn't actually Google to see where that was, but Mark, I'm sure it was a strip club. I don't think they have any other clubs in Vegas, do they?
Okay, let's see.
Not that I would know. So I mean, Kamara gets in trouble, but he'll pay the fine. He'll be all right. He's not going to get anything from this.
4-game suspension. No, they said it was pretty bad. He broke the guy's orbital bone in his eye, so he's going to get a felony probably.
Yeah, I would guess that. All right.
You're probably right about that. They'll make it go away. Away.
He's going to be this year's version of Michael Thomas, the Saints wide receiver in fantasy.
No,
he's going to be out for the first 4 to 6 games, and someone's going to pick him in the 5th round and be like, yeah.
I don't think he's going to get a 4-game suspension. I'll just go out on a limb and say a maximum of 2 games.
I just want to address this, Pat. You have 4 kids, Klein. You can do anything. No, once you've had this number of kids, it's like getting beat over the head with a sledgehammer every day. Anyway,
I'm sure that's a wonderful message for your kids when they watch the program.
Yeah, they don't. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about something relevant to Steelers football now. The Steelers apparently have named Mr. Austin, right? Terrell Austin, yeah. Their new defensive coordinator. What are your thoughts on that? And does it really matter?
Well, he actually wasn't hired. He was promoted.
Correct.
And we know how well it is when Steelers promote from within. You can look at the last 2 offensive coordinators for that and see how well that worked out. So I think this is a problem for the Steelers. I think they're afraid to go outside their organization. I think Tomlin really needs to make a hire outside of his organization just to keep him in check. Unfortunately, without having a real GM in charge, who they'll probably promote from within, I think it's a problem for the Steelers organization. I mean, I get it. You want to keep good talent, and I think he was going to interview with the Giants or somebody like that. But still, the Giants. I mean, so who cares? The Giants suck. They're going to suck for another 5 years with Daniel Jones up there. So I think when it comes down to it, the Steelers need to stop this hiring from within bullshit, and they need to start looking from without. What do you say, Mark?
I agree with that, but I will also say I think his success will probably have more to do with the personnel than actually his ability. I mean, I think that probably about half the defense needs to be reworked. They got some great pieces on defense, but they really need to have a good draft, defensively. So,
Mm.
if they can get a really good corner, or if they could get a good linebacker, maybe somebody in the interior, like a defensive tackle. If they could pull like three, starting or at least two starting and one rotational player out of this draft, that's going to just give him more weapons in the arsenal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're right about the linebacker. I've been talking about the linebacker since week 2. And it would be nice to get a really good cornerback. But I think if they're going to get a cornerback, they're going to have to go get somebody from the free agent pool to do that. And I do like the idea of getting some depth on the line. Alu and Tuitt probably aren't going to be back. And those guys didn't play last year, but those would have made a lot of difference in helping out Hayward. I don't think Hayward can play another 17-game season the way he did this year.
So I just threw up a couple comments. Tim said it doesn't matter. Tomlin calls the shots on D. Scott from New York is saying, you can see it, Tomlin's making all the defensive calls. What exactly does a coordinator do? DG has a response for us. I love this. I'd be honored to be on with you guys, but I might have to make it another night. I'm listening while attending an HOA meeting that I'm required to attend. Put that coffee down. Anyway, but thanks, DG. I really appreciate it. Maybe they'd all rather be on the sports porch with you too. So I don't think it matters. I think one of the things that I find really kind of strange about this whole setup with the Steelers, and I know they've done it for a while, is that you hire a defensive coordinator and Mike Tomlin calls it defense. I honestly think that
does he call the defensive plays?
Yeah.
I didn't think he did.
Yeah. He writes up the plan, and he calls a lot of the defensive plays.
He makes the game plan, but I thought that the defensive coordinator actually made the calls.
Yeah, but he gets to override them. So I'm sure. So if he wants to override it, if it's a call, if the guy calls something he would have called, or if he overrides it, isn't it really him calling the play anyway? I mean,
not really, because I think you'd override 3 or 4 or 5 times at most a game.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But that's the thing for me, is that I just think it doesn't matter. I actually think that the Steelers need a defensive coordinator who actually plans the defense, and they need an offensive coordinator who's better than Matt Canada. And then Tomlin can do what head coaches do much better. I think they're mixing too much up. That's been my opinion for a while now. So, okay, what are you guys' thoughts on that out there in Facebook land and LinkedIn land? Let's move on to something that's near and dear to my heart. The Olympics. Is anyone watching? And is anyone watching wearing a mask? And the reason I bring this up is because I just happened to catch a clip of ice skating. Mm-hmm. And the guy that was ice skating alone on the ice wearing a mask. And all I could think about was, that makes no sense to me at all. I don't like ice skating anyway. As a matter of fact, I think the Olympics are completely, and no offense to anybody who loves the Olympics, this is my opinion and my opinion only, but I think the Olympics, mostly because of social media and everything else in the world that everybody pays attention to way more, has become completely irrelevant as an entertainment venue. Not irrelevant for the athletes who train like mad to get there and win gold medals. So I really don't want anybody to think that I'm taking anything away from them, because it's hard work. But when I was a kid growing up, and you guys were all about the same age, my whole family watched the Olympics. And I don't know anybody. I mean, I'm sure there are people that watch them, but they're at all-time lows for viewership now.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw something out at you guys, and Maybe you guys will think I'm totally crazy. But, I think the Olympics really, it's a USA thing. You root for USA, you root for America. And to be completely honest, the way the country is so divided right now, I don't think people feel any attachment to America anymore. I just think they feel attached to a right or a left. And that's about it. I mean, I honestly don't think that people really rally about America too much anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, I think Marc's on to something there. I think, the division we have in our country now definitely plays into that. But I think more than that is, when was the last time the Olympics were going on during a Super Bowl week? I mean, if you could pick the dumbest time to put on the Olympics, well, they did it right during a Super Bowl week. I mean, America is more around the Super Bowl than it is around the Olympics. And these
Right.
Olympics are a year late, too. So, you have that whole thing. And the other thing people like to watch the Olympics is the crowds. The crowds are a big thing of, you want to get behind the spirit of, the Olympic crowds, and you want to see those huge, 125,000 people at the opening ceremonies. And when it's empty, you're just basically saying, why would I be watching this at home when nobody is even there participating? The athletes, I've heard hockey players in particular say this, that when the stands were empty, it was just not fun to play. I mean, they did it, they went through the routine, but it's just a different feel to the game. And I think the combination of those things, and let's face it, that people now have a lot more options than they did before. Before, you were only given sports, and the only sports you could get were the Olympics back in our day. And that's what you were spoon-fed. Now, there's a lot of other things you could be watching. The first thing you do when you pick up your remote, are you going to channel 2, 4, or 11 here in Pittsburgh? No, you're probably going to Netflix or HBO Max, or you're going to your Fire Stick. There are plenty of other things to watch. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Peacock is tapped into that. And there are no stories. Do you know of any story of any Olympic athlete that you're like, wow, I got to see if he or she is going for the gold? So I think all those things combined make the Olympics obsolete, at least right now. I think NBC needs to do a better job of some of these athletes who are really going through struggles and going for the gold. I think they could really make their story more well known, or at least known, because I don't know any. By the way, Pat, thank you. I am still 35, actually. I was able to find a way with my engineering knowledge to turn back time.
And he did pass a PED test. So,
did I really?
Well, that's the story we're going with.
We
got to keep your Hall of Fame credentials.
Well,
we're going to create our own Hall of Fame. That's going to be our next thing here. We're going to have a Hall of Fame, which is going to be a lot of fun to do. I'll tell you right now. And I think Tim's comment here, 1980, the Miracle on Ice. I mean, I get where that's coming from. It's not, that wasn't the last great Olympic moment. He's going to be watching. He doesn't watch men's hockey.
Tanya Harding in the bad incident definitely is up there.
Yeah, well, that was that was funny, but I don't think the Olympics are really. I don't find them to be that relevant anymore. I think that, and I think Marc has a point. Yeah, I get that. If you're talking about it from a patriotic standpoint, right? Everybody's kind of focusing on, the polarization in this country and politics and all that kind of stuff. So does that make it hard to come together to root for the USA? So yeah, there could be something, or that could at least be a part of it. There's no doubt about that. I happen to think it's more because there's just so much more that kids especially, and us as adults, pay attention to now. I think social media has completely changed the landscape. I don't know anybody who is a millennial who actually watches TV. I mean, and by that, I mean the classic, get on your cable box and watch TV. And that's where most of the Olympics is being broadcast. And all of these networks, they were late to the game. I mean, hell, YouTube took over my kids' viewing on a screen 7 or 8 years ago, when my youngest was, 6. So I think that plays a big part.
There is a little bit. I mean, I think you guys are right about that, but there is a little bit of a flip side to that, which is that the Olympics has adopted a lot of the almost like X Games like games to the Olympics that a lot of the
Right.
millennials really like snowboarding and the half pipe and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
those would be reasons why some people would want to watch. But I think you guys are right. I think it's just a combination of way more things to do. Those aren't the regular channels that we watch anymore, and nobody's really that patriotic these days, it seems.
Yeah. So the answer is no one's watching the Olympics, mask or not. Okay, so we're going to do something new here. We're going to cut to a very quick promotion for our biggest sponsor, the Pittsburgh Property Diva. Give me about 30 seconds to collect my thoughts and catch up on some comments. So let's leave it with that. We'll be right back. Yeah, looks like the music didn't work for that. So technical director's got some stuff he's got to take care of. And we're back.
I think that
you guys couldn't hear any music on that, could you?
I think that
I heard nothing.
I thought it really would have been good if there was some music.
Yeah, and I think that track didn't have the music on it. So Chris is spot on, is what Tim says. I always love when people agree with me. I'll make sure I get your comment on if you do every single time. DG says, I attended the 96 Olympics in Atlanta, and it was a blast, no pun intended. That's in horrible taste, DG, but still funny. It helped that I didn't have to travel abroad, right?
Well, it'll be interesting when the Summer Olympics come back to LA.
Yeah.
How well they'll be attended and how many people will pay more attention.
Hey, some 41-year-old French guy plays second in the men's downhill. There's hope for you guys yet.
No, there is not.
Another 10 years. I got another 10 years. We all got another 10 years on that French guy. So I think the advantage is that he's French. There you go.
And he's probably eats a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
My sport
I have
a horrible ski jump.
Yeah, I have a horrible story about French cheese while I was in France that I won't share here. All right, so since we had our little commercial break there, that's, I guess, officially the halftime. So let's move on to something here that is near and dear to Steve's heart, which is the Pens mid-season update. And with that, you'll see that your technical director is so savvy that he is going to change the background to the winter scene from above Mount Washington. So
nobody wants to see the background. They only want to hear about the Pens.
I'm just having fun with the buttons, man. I'm just having fun with the buttons.
All right. So
anyway, Steve, quick mid-season update on the Pens.
46 game update, not really mid-season because, there's no real mid-season because of the Olympics. Anyway, 46 games in, the Pens are currently in third place in the Metro. They're actually only 2 points out of first place overall. So there are 4 other teams that have 2 more points than the Penguins right now in the Atlantic. I'm only talking about East Coast teams. We're not talking about West Coast teams here because it's really irrelevant to talk about the West Coast teams until we start talking about, trade deadline and things like that. So they're basically they're a big surprise this year. I didn't expect them to be this good. Playing without Malkin for a very long time. Once again, the MVP so far has got to be Tristan Jarry. I mean, just playing amazing hockey. And I know nobody watches All-Star games, but he looked actually pretty good at the All-Star game. The Metro ended up winning the whole thing. Claude Giroux did the Flyers a favor by winning the MVP, probably adding another first-round pick onto the trade that he's about to be put into, which is good for the Flyers. So, nothing wrong with that for the Flyers, who are not going to make the playoffs, most likely. The thing that's really interesting is that the 8 teams that are in the playoffs right now, there is like a huge jump to the next person down, and so it's highly unlikely that the teams that are in the playoffs now will not make the playoffs unless one of these 8 teams tank. So that'll really make it interesting to see how well these teams play. The other thing is the Penguins haven't played, the likes of Carolina, who are just on fire. I know we got some Carolina fans in the house, and they are playing really well, but I'm just not a big fan of Carolina, and I can't tell why. So maybe after I see them play the Pens a couple times, I'll have a better opinion on them. Malkin's out with COVID. Actually, I'm really thrilled about Malkin being out with COVID. I mean, I wish Teddy Bluger was in. I wish Bluger was in the lineup, because I'd like to see how they could play with Sid, Carter, and Bluger as their top 3 centermen. And then, you always have Boyle down there. They actually called up a guy from Wilkes-Barre. It was Mike Chaput. So he's going to get a shot probably at the 4th line center. I thought maybe they give Dupuis a line on his own, or maybe they're not going to pull Jake off of the first line with Rust and Sid. That line is just on fire. They can't be stopped. But right now, that's the problem. They're the only ones that are scoring. They've lost 4 in a row. Actually, they're 0-2-2. They had 2 shootout losses in their last 4 games. So it'll be good to see what they do against Boston, in Boston, a place they traditionally play really poorly at. So I think they could get off to a rough start, but then they have, I think, Ottawa and then the Devils, who are both not in the playoffs. Actually, the Devils are on a 6-game losing streak. So they pretty much suck right now. So we got to take advantage of those 2 teams. And then the lovely Flyers are in town on Tuesday. So I don't know that we'll learn much in the next 4 games from the Pens. But the things that I'm going to be looking forward to is how they play against the likes of Carolina and the Rangers, who are above them. Just before the break, they lost to the Capitals in a shootout. A game they probably should have won, actually. So I don't know. Right now, they needed this break, so it'll be interesting to see if the week off helps them get their legs back. So that's the Penguins update. Oh, Bluger update. Teddy Bluger update.
Bluger
out with a broken jaw. Will be out for another 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And the Pens are actually, what are they with him? I wrote that down. I actually looked it up. Pens without Teddy are 2-3, actually 2-1-2, an outright loss and 2 shootout losses. So the problem with having Teddy Bluger out is you don't have a centerman to take over his place. You have to play Boyle every night, and Boyle is just an old man. He's gonna break down. So they're gonna hopefully. If I'm watching the game tomorrow, which I will be on tape delay, I'm gonna see what this new centerman can do, Chaput, and hopefully he'll at least be serviceable for a few games.
Here's
that's your hockey update.
Here is the embarrassing moment of the night.
That is pathetic, Pat. I'm sorry, but that is.
Yep.
Mary Lou Retton.
I will never admit that. Of course, we're going back to the Olympics conversation we were having before. I didn't get this on Yo Carey. 85% of the events are things no one really knows about. Who can tell me shot put rules? They have to go to full X Games to get anyone looking, and we were kind of talking about that a little bit. I just want to leave this up for Pat for a little while longer.
Hey, I want to. We didn't mention anything about the two-hand touch Pro Bowl.
No, one thing I do before we can talk to the Pro Bowl, but before we talk about the Pro Bowl, let's talk about the All-Star game, the NHL All-Star game. Did any of you guys see the highlights of the shootout?
No, I heard it was crazy though.
Dude,
I mean, it was really, really like in a bad way. Like it was really dumb. Like trying to be like the slam dunk contest.
Yeah, it was kind of like that, but there's this guy from Anaheim, Trevor Segres, and he is just amazing. He can handle the puck like nobody can handle the puck. And actually, his highlight goal is he likes to do this highlight goal, and I don't know if you know what a highlight goal is, but basically he pulls the puck off the ice, he gets it on his stick, and he just slams it in, right?
Right.
So he didn't do that, but one of my favorite movies of all times is Dodgeball. And he did a spoof of Dodgeball where he blindfolded himself. He skated down the ice blindfolded, did a 360 move, had the puck on his stick the whole time, and shot it in the goal. It was amazing. It was amazing. You have to look that one up. By the way, he didn't win because one of the other guys who was in there was a Las Vegas Knight. And one of the refs gave him a 19, and he won. But that's pathetic. That's pathetic. But anyway, so that was the highlight of the All-Star weekend for the NHL.
I'll tell you what, actually, this is a perfect segue because while the Pro Bowl was absolutely horrible, probably the worst game of two-hand touch I've ever seen played. I've made more contact in my games with two-hand touch.
I make more contact with my wife on a daily basis, and I mean that with all due respect.
That just was
that was a little too much. That was
inappropriate. And
no, that was your mind turning it into what you wanted to turn it into. I was making a point.
I was thinking like you were baking in the kitchen, and she was baking, and you were trying to get another cup of coffee, and you bumped into her. That's what I was.
It was a disturbing notion. But getting off of that, going back to the Pro Bowl. Did anybody watch the Pro Bowl skills challenges?
No, but I heard Russell Wilson lit it up.
Well, what I'm
just thought you'd like to see what I bake with. Thanks to the Pittsburgh Property Diva for allowing us to do this. So go ahead.
Very unprofessional.
Well, he's only the technical director. You can't.
My finger hit the button by accident. Sorry about that.
I was drawing from something that Steve said, and they had a new event that was the ending event to the skills challenge. And I have to tell you, I watched it and I thought it was tremendous.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd ever think that watching it a second time. But they had basically Pro Bowler dodgeball, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like it was just like you have Stephon Diggs on one team and Trevon Diggs on the other team, and you had what's his name Jefferson out there. I mean, it was like all the stars were playing dodgeball, and it was hilarious.
They probably loved it too.
Yeah, they loved it. Like they were having the time of their life playing it, and it was actually really fun to watch because they're all competitors.
Yeah,
and it basically ended with it was down to Chubb from the Browns, just 1-on-1 against Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, and Jefferson threw a ball at Chubb and it missed him. And then Chubb winged one at Jefferson. Jefferson made a one-handed grab with it, and they won.
Fun.
It was awesome.
Still, the Pro Bowl sucks.
Well, that had nothing to do with the Pro Bowl.
I know.
And that's why we're talking about it, because you're absolutely right. Nobody watches that game anymore. It's irrelevant.
I remember vaguely watching it a little bit 20 years ago, but not that much. Not that
Well,
much.
is it just about time for what we're watching?
Just to follow up with that, Tim says our all-star games in any sport necessary other than players bonuses to make. The only all-star game that I think is worthy is even baseball is completely watered down now. But if you want to say any game has a little bit of relevance, that game does. But I'm pretty much agreeing. Okay, so the last part of our show, what are you watching? And for this part of the show, we dig into streaming television or live TV if you want, and we talk about what we are watching. I just want to remind everybody that Steve's favorite movie is Dodgeball.
One of my favorite movies.
Whatever. You probably, and I think we know why it's your favorite movie. So lay it on me, guys.
I'm not sure where you go with that.
We're bringing an edge to the show. I'm taking it in a new direction. Steve started swearing a few weeks back a lot, and I'm taking it in a new direction. We're going to have some edge to this. All right?
Allow me to start us off with what we're watching.
Please do, 76ers fan.
I made a trip to the movies this weekend.
Oh my God. The real movie theater?
Yes, a very ill-advised trip.
Oh no.
I saw the movie Moonfall. Does anybody know what it is?
Yeah. Well, I've seen the advertisement.
It's a sci-fi movie that's got Halle Berry in it. And I can tell you without hesitation, if not the worst movie of all time, the second worst movie of all time.
There was a little hesitation, but I think that was between worst or second worst.
Yes, it was absolutely that bad. I mean, now, if anybody wants to go see Moonfall, spoiler alert, okay? It's so bad, I don't think it's worth your watching. But if you really do want to see it, just, cover those ears up. So, let me just explain to you that the first hour and 15 minutes of the movie, totally normal, pretty enjoyable, makes sense, Hey, moon's falling toward Earth, end of the world, scary. How are we going to get through this, And, I'm enjoying myself. And then certain things begin to happen, and you just say to yourself, like, this is the dumbest, most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. So let me explain to you the basic purpose here. The moon, it's not a moon. It's an alien spaceship. Disguised as a moon. Okay?
No, it's the Death Star.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a Star Wars sequel.
Somewhat. And,
bye, Mrs. Klein. Good night, Mrs. Klein.
And
night, love you.
And aside from the fact that, there was one scene in which, because the moon is coming down to Earth, there's tsunamis that are creating such gigantic waves that they're crashing down all the buildings in New York City, right? Well, they had to get, that last mission up, that space shuttle up, and I'll tell you what, man, the water hit the space shuttle, but it still made it up. And in the same scene, the kids whose parents were in the space shuttle were on the ground level, and they had to escape the tsunami wave in a Jeep, and they just did it. They just outran the tidal wave.
I'm bored. I'm bored to death just listening to you talk about it. Yeah.
But let me just give you the kicker, and then I'll shut up.
Oh, there's a kicker.
So,
all right.
So one of the main guys is the disgraced loser guy who nobody takes seriously, but he's thought all along that the moon was really a Death Star. And finally people began to listen to him. This had to have been planned. This bear thing.
Chris turned into a bear over this. I think
What
he's saying hurry up.
Why are you doing that?
This is the hurry up bear.
I'm sorry. I couldn't take it anymore.
Okay. All right.
I'm never going to see that movie. Thank you.
You know what, Chris? You'll probably want to watch it, and I'd love to talk about the ending with you.
Well, if it has to do with aliens, you know he's going to watch it.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is,
not going to pay $12 for it.
The funny thing is, everything I saw on TV, all of the hype and everything, I was like, oh, that's right up my alley. It's a sci-fi movie. It's cool. And I'm glad, actually, that Marc ruined it for me, because that saves me the 2 hours of ruining it myself. So
yeah,
that's
when I choose movies, I live by a rule that almost never fails, and it's called action never fails. This time it did, really badly.
Well, it's always good to see that your wife is watching and she has great advice for you. Steve, what are you watching?
So, I failed to get another thing in your eyes.
Take that off camera, please.
Go ahead.
Actually, you'll not believe this, but for the first time for the longest time that I can remember, maybe since I started watching Netflix, there is nothing in my queue. And I'm like,
because you're almost done.
Yeah, well, normally I'm watching like 2 or 3 series, so I didn't finish the series yet, so it's like, okay, continue watching, right? Continue watching Cobra Kai, continue watching Ozark. So I finished watching Ozark.
Mm-hmm.
What an unbelievable ending that was!
Yes,
we won't have any spoiler alerts here,
no.
But oh my God, that was fantastic. And I, on recommendation, I did watch that Munich movie. That was an incredible movie.
Edge of War.
Yeah. Edge of War, yeah. That was an incredible movie. Love that.
It was.
And I finished watching Narcos Mexico, which I'm glad I finished, because I actually got really bored at the end, because I already kind of knew what was going to happen. So I'm kind of glad that's over with. So I need new recommendations. I got a blank slate, and I've got nothing that I'm really looking forward to watching.
Now, you guys, last week, accused me of being a selfish watcher. I had no defense for that, because, I guess I am in a way. But I do want to say that what I forgot to mention in my defense was that it's not entirely true. Steve recommended a documentary series on Netflix called Flint Town, and it's about the city of Flint, Michigan. And I did watch that. What did you say, buddy? No, I didn't. I didn't say it last week. I texted it to you guys after the show.
How would I have known that?
Because I just said it and I texted it to you. I didn't say it last week.
I don't know. I think you said it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Anyway, watch Flint Town. I thought it was terrific. Yeah, I'm actually hoping there's kind of like a follow-up to that where they check in with these guys later.
There probably will be. It was pretty well watched. Oh, by the way, I also did watch Screwball, that PED one with that crazy guy down in Florida.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
None of those characters I liked. I wish they all would have ended up dead or in jail.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a happy thought to end the show with.
You
know what we didn't touch on, guys, and maybe there'll be a little bit more news for us to touch on it next week, since we're coming up on an hour here. But we didn't talk about the NFL suit that the suit that Brian Flores brought against the NFL, and like Lovie Smith becoming the head coach in Houston. I do want to go back here really quick. David Gannis, in that movie that Marc talked about, did they at least pander to the crowd by having Halle Berry in a bikini? That might make me want to watch.
Actually, there was none of that.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Because, Marc, you had me at Halle Berry. I was like, oh, Halle Berry's in. I'll go watch it. I'll spend an hour and a half with Halle Berry, no matter what.
Exactly.
To be honest, I think she was like one of the directors or producers of it. So, therefore, that was a no-go.
And I love this. DG, I'm currently watching a bunch of old HOA gummers argue about the landscape budget and bulk cable service. You got to get them on the streaming services. I'm thankful for the entertainment and diversion that you characters have provided. I'll catch you next time. As always, DG, it's an honor to have you watching us, and we really, really, really appreciate it. So, that being said, guys, anything you want to leave us with before we fade off into the sunset?
Go Rams, beat the Bungles.
Yep, Steve's got the Rams winning 24-17. Marc has Cincy 38-28. And I say Joe Burrow's going to turn into a super stud and win this game 35-17 with a late touchdown by the Rams to make it just a little closer. So thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. And as always, we'll be back next week. And we love you all, guys. Take it easy.
Good night.
I'm going to leave us with a good night. Later, guys.